Yo, what's up? You're listening to the Instant Grits podcast. I'm your host, Devin Adams, CEO of Determined Athletes, and I'm determined to inspire. I'm here with uh, Big Tim,
Yo, what's
Patrick.
going on?
I know he was ready for me to say something, but
Yep, you was.
I'm just so fired up and so upset right now.
Mm-hmm.
But before I even talk about my frustrations, we have a we have the whole crew in today. We got Lopez.
Lo
Lopez
is back.
I'm back.
He's done. He's
I'm
back
back
from
and I'm
cruise.
excited.
He's all tanned out. Okay, he's
I was burnt a couple weeks ago.
yeah. Okay, so he was burnt. Now he come back to this 115-degree Philly weather. And you done? Are you done with the principal stuff or not? When is that
No,
done?
we have one more week. So next Friday's my last day.
Okay, so good for you. Hopefully you get some time to yourself. But
Yeah,
like I
man.
said, I want to get straight into this. First of all, refer a friend. We already know this is an accountability podcast, but this topic right here is an interesting one because it's basically I'm gonna need some help, Patton.
No, it's okay.
I'm gonna need some help because first of
Sorry.
all, Eric Gardner, the anniversary of that. That's the one that really messed me up in 2014.
Yeah, 2014.
I believe I showed my kids some of that in my music classroom, and we was just all torn up, and it really made us think the witness a murder that like that.
Yeah.
So I want to just pay tribute, homage, and think about his family and the injustices that still go on now. I even saw a Facebook post from the 1970s of mistreatment of African Americans, and then when you watch some of these movies that are just coming out and all these documentaries, like, yo, this
Mhm.
stuff was not that long ago.
No.
Nope.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, man, it just ties into everything Lopez said on one of our first ones. I think it might have been pertaining to toxic masculinity. That was a powerful episode. If y'all didn't check that one out, do it. But Lopez was going in. Tim was going in too. So like I said, and let's also give a shout out to who the nominees, bro.
The when they see us, but
Yeah.
let me touch on that Eric Gardner thing real quick.
Please
'cause
do,
Some
I'm
people
sorry.
just may not. If you're hiding under a rock, you may not have heard.
Explain the whole scenario for him.
So Eric Gardner was the gentleman that allegedly the NYPD had come up on him for selling loose cigarettes, or what they said was loose cigarettes or whatever.
Yeah.
And they wanted to arrest him for that, which I've never heard selling loose cigarettes as being a crime that warrants arrest. Maybe a fine, maybe.
I think they wanted to get him for like loitering.
Okay, for loitering.
So they wanted to turn it into the official loitering charge.
And that would have been fine too, because all that is okay. I'm just leaving the area.
Mhm.
But it turned into him being arrested, and the police officer, Eric Gardner was a pretty large guy, about 6'4", over 250 pounds, something like that. And the officer proceeded to put him in a chokehold. And you see him on the video. Those that have seen the video is like, he's being real. He's being very compliant. He's not resisting. He's just asking why. Why are you doing this? And then officer puts him in the chokehold. Got 3 or 4 other officers that come on the scene and try to get him down. He has his hands up. There's no weapon. He's no imminent threat to any of the officers. And this guy continues the chokehold. And
a chokehold which was outlawed.
Outlawed, exactly.
In police training.
But
oh, sheesh, I didn't know.
Because of his willingness to, I guess, wanting to complete that arrest successfully, he pulled out a unlawful tactic. And what wound up happening is, you got which is now famous, the whole "I can't breathe."
How many times did you say it? You remember?
He said it about 11 times.
Jeez.
And the last time it was, faint enough, and then, unfortunately he passed away after that. But the officer, the Department of Justice has deemed that that officer won't be brought up on federal charges.
Which is a
So
shame.
basically,
He killed somebody.
More than a shame is,
It's disgusting.
I can't even think of a word to put to it, because that's a blatant murder caught on video. Like, we, police officers and detectives spend hours and millions of dollars trying to solve unsolved murders. There you have a murder right in front of you from beginning to end. You see the motive, you see, what went on in between, and then you see the aftermath. And this guy, because he's a police officer, is, his excessive force or whatever, even using an unlawful tactic that was outlawed or banned resulted in this gentleman's death. So,
And he got
I mean,
this was a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah, it was actually one day
off.
shy of the anniversary of the actual murder is what I'll call it, because that's what it was.
And this happened in 2014, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like I said, this is yeah, that one really just spoke to me heavy. I don't want us to take too much time because we have
I just wanted to touch on that. But shout outs to
everybody might not know about it. No,
yeah, that's why I wanted to do that. But shout outs to the entire cast and crew, Ava DuVernay, for When They See Us. I watched it now probably about 5 times.
Sheesh. I've seen it twice.
I haven't showed it to my sons.
Lopez was the first one to see it, though. Wasn't you the first one?
Was the first one to.
He was ready, and that was a while ago. He's like, "Yo, Dad, you gotta watch it." I'm like, "Oh,
yeah." You were the last one. You didn't want to.
I watched some interviews with her too. She's really, really good.
Yeah, she's very good at painting. At painting the actual picture and the what's his name? Jarrell Jerome. That played Corey Wise,
21-year-old,
man,
the Dominican
man. If this kid doesn't win an Oscar, it's I've never seen anybody embody a character. Probably with the exception of Jamie Foxx doing Ray Charles.
Been a while.
This kid, when you see Corey Wise, this kid got it dead on.
And one of the first things I did after I watched it was go on YouTube and watch the 12 to 14 other interviews. So people know the Central Park 5, but there was actually 12 to 14 other kids or total kids who was interviewed. And I watched all the interviews with those kids. And to watch Corey Wise interview, he had the mannerisms, everything down.
Hold on Amazon Prime. Did y'all watch that on Amazon Prime? Central Park 5 has his own special on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I did.
Not Amazon Prime, or it's on one of them
Netflix.
things.
Yeah, I know. They have one that was done prior to.
And they're interviewing the real guys. They're showing all their real footage of them being young. My bad, I wasn't talking to the microphone. But they're interviewing all the real guys. Nah, for real, I'm not trying to play you. I wasn't. And that one was really good too.
Yeah.
Because it shows Corey looking at his old clips of him speaking. He's like, I don't even know who that kid is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's just a powerful moment. You said you're going to show these to your sons, or you don't think they're ready yet? That's definitely a classic that hopefully gets passed down like all the other.
I really hope it is. Like I just had one of my students walk in, and I told him, after watching that, it gave me some different ideas about this upcoming year. But I want to have my students watch it several times throughout the year, so that they really understand that what I'm trying to say to you is not just me talking, or I want you to be compliant, or I want you to be this or that. No, man, listen, you can be out there just having fun as you see it, and something life-altering happens in a matter of seconds that changes the course of your entire life. And, with the way injustices are, like what we just talking about, like that's not a stretch to see that happen again to some of our kids.
Are you kidding me? No.
I want to make sure that they see that.
And what's up with Colin Kaepernick? He's nominated too, or?
Yeah, I think he got nominated. Was it for the Nike commercial?
I think the commercial. I didn't even know commercials get nominated.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like it was like what, like a little short movie, I guess, so to speak. But it was pretty powerful. Shout out to Cap, man. He's had a rough go of it for at least the past 5 years. So it's good to see him being recognized for.
He was going through it for a little bit. He was catching a lot of scrutiny, a lot.
Catching it heavy.
I mean, but he's right now he's a good example for the new generation of seeing like what perseverance and sacrifice is. So we read about it with what people did in the 60s and 70s, what they gave up, but to see somebody in your time that gave up a prosperous football career, and didn't know it was going to turn out right. He didn't know he could have been lost in the mix. Never rebounded, and been left broke, and nobody would have cared.
Yep.
But he took a chance. He stayed with his belief because it was right. And I ain't gonna say it worked out, but he still was able to land on his feet somewhat with using his platform the way that he wanted to. So I think now, he can look back and say, like, everything I did was worth it 100%. I'm probably even more powerful. My voice is even more powerful now. And I don't need football at the end of the day. It wasn't really about that. So he's showing younger kids that your belief in what's right is more important than financial gain and materialistic things. So that message is powerful and well received for these kids nowadays. So I'm definitely appreciating him for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to that. That's great for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And like I said, hopefully that the guy that played Corey Wise. Shout out to Tim's kids.
Yeah, they in here trying hard to be quiet.
They definitely
man.
right here doing a good job.
You
Shout out
wanna
to Tim
say
Jr.
something? You wanna
Tim
say
Jr.
something on the mic?
Hurry up. Just say what's up. Hurry up, Tim.
Come here, hurry up.
Hurry
Come
up,
on.
man. We got.
Right here.
Just say what's up. My name is Tim. I'm holding it down for the one.
What's up? My name is Tim.
You got Tim. Isaiah, come here. Say it. Hurry up, Tim. Isaiah. Oh my gosh, Isaiah. I thought you was a real one.
And he's gonna be the one that wound up being on TV.
Yeah, so shout out to them. They're doing a really good job in here. We've seen them grow up throughout the years. They trying to keep it together. They're on the floor right now. But shout out to them. But the reason I'm glad I got these two gentlemen in here with me because they're super duper smart. And when I get upset, I rant and I don't know how to articulate myself as clearly as I like to think.
We all do. It's all right, bro.
Yeah, but one of my new coworkers was really, really upsetting emotional yesterday, and he was sharing with me why. And I had to tell him, look, I don't know anything about this rage that you have, or this frustration and this sadness that you're showing me right now.
Mm-hmm.
So once he told me about this 13 seconds of silence,
Yeah. Oh boy.
I was like, what is this? And then because that's what I saw. I saw the 13 seconds of silence, and then I heard send them home. So then I was like, well, who are they talking about?
Yeah.
So once I do that, it was the four Democratic ladies who have been, I guess, labeled as more progressive than many other Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
But just because they're progressive, let me say this, does not mean they're extremist. And that's where things, number one, just starts to really bother me. Because just because you're progressive doesn't mean you're an extremist. That's a entirely different context. But apparently they made some comments as throughout the year. And this was at a North Carolina rally, correct? I think it was in North Carolina. And, you know, some information was being laid out by the president. Some of them might not have been as accurate as they deemed fit. I'll just leave it like that.
Yeah,
and then once a comment was made, people in the audience started chanting, send them home. Now, he said in his retort, the president said that he answered very quickly. Once he started hearing it, he said he was uncomfortable about it. Now, but the more upsetting part was the chant went on for 13 seconds straight before he decided to say anything at all. To send them home, and they're U.S. citizens. One escaped from Somalia, refuge. Send them home.
Home where?
We're gonna send these girls home. I haven't heard that saying, send somebody home, since I saw that video clip of the 1960s and 70s, the one that I Heart Hoops posted.
Yeah.
Shout out to Omar Richburg that he posted. And said, y'all need to go home. Like, it's just such a smack in the face of these women. I don't care what they said. Imagine what would have happened if Obama would have said that to four.
Oh, you kidding me? We'd have had a civil war.
And
there,
I really think so. So, like I said, that really.
I think too. Watching the video, man, like the you talking about the 13 seconds of silence. The silence obviously is
by him, not the audience.
Right, by him. The silence is obviously a nonverbal form of encouragement and acceptance. What bothered me was the nonverbal cue, like his posture.
Thank you.
That's what bothered me, because he was egging it on more with his posture than with him even saying anything. And so when you see that, it's like, you can't get on media the day after and say, I didn't feel comfortable with it. I was opposed with the comments, and so that's why I spoke very quickly. Even I mean, he's been taught well, and we know about legalese, which is the way that you present things. You can boldface lie, and because the way you worded it is less offensive, and this and that. But he never condemned it. He never verbally said, "I don't agree with these comments." I
just said I don't like the comments.
I don't, I was very uncomfortable with them, which is why I spoke very quickly. But you didn't speak to condemn the comments. You continued. He was
covering.
Absolutely.
He said
absolutely
what his handlers probably told him this is what you're supposed to say to try to clean this up. But the way that he paused was, if you were up there speaking the truth, or like a preacher, when they hit a real good point in their sermon, and
they pause and look around.
Right,
they let the crowd feel it.
Right.
Yeah, they said, I'm gonna throw it out there, and then they don't go on because whatever they just said, it resonated with the crowd. So I'm gonna let that marinate for a little bit.
Right.
That's what he did without saying it, but the way that his mannerisms was and that silence was like, okay, the crowd is marinating. Let me give them some time with this, not interrupting and saying that they were wrong.
Not at all.
Apparently,
not at all.
And apparently, hold on, before I say that part, I did want to say I remember Obama was doing a Democratic rally someplace.
Oh, when he shut stuff down when they were talking bad about Trump. Who were they? They were saying something about somebody. It might have been Trump.
It was something that would have benefited
him
to a certain degree,
yeah,
just
I do
from
remember
that perspective. And he's just said, no, that's not true.
Right.
And they said, boo, boo. He said, no, that's not true.
No. Right.
But with the quickness, he hit that joint.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
about
because he knew it was
day and
wrong.
night,
It was
yeah,
wrong.
It was wrong.
Exactly.
And wrong is wrong. And that's what I'm saying. And even I think this whole thing that he is doing right now for the presidential campaign coming up, I heard this is like a new political strategy. It's new to me just because I'm really starting to get into it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's a political strategy
Mm-hmm.
where he is just really trying to separate.
You would think, or the media to some degree would allow you to believe that those folks who support him are extremists. Racism is, why are we still talking about racism in 2019? That's only for the extreme people, the older white men in this. No. What he's doing is showing how prevalent, relevant, and palpable and right here racism really is.
Yeah.
And people have just, maybe have done it, more quietly. Now you got permission to just be overt with it, and it's fine.
He's taking the taboo part of
racism out of it.
Now he's like, I
agree.
I don't care.
He's the fire starter.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Fire starter.
Agree.
Throw it out there. I'll say what I want. I'll do what I want. And I think one thing that gets lost, where people, especially us, that we don't really realize, is that because we're so immersed in American culture now, like our music is everywhere, all right, our trends are everywhere, our fashion statements are everywhere. Sometimes we forget how outnumbered we are, right? So what Trump is doing, if you think about it in the sense of like just very generic black and white, right?
Right.
He really doesn't have a reason to want the black vote. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
There's way more people of European descent in this country than of anybody else. As long as he has them, he's fine. So there's always been a push for the black vote, but that's more of a symbolic thing. You can't elect the president based on the black vote.
At all.
You can't.
We saw that doesn't
can't.
much matter. So
you talk about it because we're here and you have to acknowledge us to a degree, but Trump's come along and said, I don't. 70% of this country is European descent.
Yes.
Right? Or more.
And to paint these four women as the faces of the Democratic Party is just another disrespectful tone, because it's he's saying they're extremists, and now Democrats have these four extremists leading, and it's just trying to create another divide within that party.
Sure.
Just like he's already created a divide within his own party too, by the way.
It's kamikaze politics.
Like I said, the whole mission of this, we gave y'all some background information on that, but this is an accountability podcast, and what bothered me the most, and this is why I'm happy, because they brought up some very strong points. I'm actually happy. We're making really good time, guys. I thought I was going to be ranting. I thought I was going to be ranting.
And you could.
No.
You could.
No, I'm not going to do that.
A lot to rant about.
But it just got to me because I'm seeing these four women. And I'm like, all right, well, let me see some more articles. So I'm reading. Well, let me go on CNN. I'm seeing some of these guys that are some of these commentators.
Yeah, Don Lemon.
And my other dude I like now. I can't remember his name.
Chris Cuomo.
Yeah. I'm seeing some of them. They're speaking up on it. I even saw Dan Le Batard, who's a sports radio host on ESPN, I think. He spoke on it. So I was like, wow, they're using their platforms. Let me do some more research.
Yeah.
Bro, when I tell you, I didn't see.
It fell off after that. Huh?
It fell off fast to the point where I was just like, yo, what are the black men doing? Straight up. I'm right. And the reason I just say straight up, because I'm thinking about what is my job as accountability. Search yourself. Something's missing here. Yeah. And that's why I was excited to be on this platform, because I said, even though this is our little platform,
right? I'm
not scared to talk about it. Y'all not scared to check me, but we also aren't scared to come together and think of a solution to do something at least.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't find no articles. I couldn't find nobody. Now Lopez, somebody did keep popping up. What's your boy's name? I thought he was the singer.
Al Green.
Yeah, Al Green.
Al
Green kept popping up. Now I don't know too much about Al Green, but I know that he said he's going to keep trying to get
He's pushing for Trump's impeachment.
So he's
him along with Maxine Waters.
But is that relevant to the girls, or are these just two separate things?
They're two separate things, but they're in this day and time we don't have too many straight shooters.
No.
People that are in political seats that aren't afraid to stand in front of a camera or in front of the Congress or anything like that and speak the truth and point out what's wrong and confront it. And we've all seen Maxine. I've seen Al do it. I've seen a few others do it who will stand in front and call Donald Trump what he is. Mm-hmm. Call him a racist and call him ignorant and those things in a political forum.
And that's what these four girls have done, right?
Right. They're calling him out. And they've called him out as well. And now you see the smear campaign that's being started. And it kind of reminds me of, if you think back in the day a little bit when all people had to say was you was a communist.
Oh,
and everybody hated you, right? But a lot of people didn't really understand what communism was. They just knew it was something that was in Russia, right? It wasn't American.
Exactly.
So anytime that they find something that's opposite of the American way, they of course villainize it, and then they call people that to make you automatically oppose them. So now all these people of European descent who are supporting Trump because he's pushing for the quote unquote American way, make America great, you call people what you think is opposed to America, extremists, and all those kinds of things like that. So that way people then ignorantly side with you without knowing anything. It's just if you label them, then people will easily side with you because most people are very ignorant to the truth. They don't care, or they don't want to do the research. They just believe what's told to them.
And what's crazy is, and this is very true. This is great because you already said, well, Patton said, well, you know what? There's no senators out there really that have that space or that platform. But before even going there, I think that this is just kind of it's three of us, and we have three different mindsets, but we have three of the same philosophies with life, I think. But the first thing that came across to me was when I heard this last night when I was flipping out, I said, it's time to fight. Like, it's time for me to do something. That's the first thing I want to do. That's my reaction.
Right.
Patton, what he just said is, yo, we just trying to stay alive.
Yeah, I mean, we
hold on. And then Lopez, no, this is good though. Because then Lopez said, yo, we behind the enemy lines. So even with those three, I mean, it's just like, it's no wrong. It's just it's such a broad stroke of how messed up our society is, but how much trauma that's actually been placed on our community, on our race. Why did you use those words, trying to stay alive, though? Because I didn't even think about that until you said it.
Yeah, I mean, because we were talking about it offline. It was you try to find the best possible course of action, right? I mean, we know all of the problems that exist, but what do we attack first? How do we attack? Who should you first? Right. So my thing is, you have so many different diversions, and it's on purpose. It's systemic. But you have so many different distractions to the real plight of what's going on that, and the first one for me was just, okay, we just trying to go to the grocery store and make it back home alive without being killed by the police, let alone
that's true,
one of our own. And when you have that, I'm not even going to call it a fear. Now it's like, it's just an unfortunate reality. Yeah, it's an unfortunate reality that every time I step outside of the house, I have to be cognizant of law enforcement and how that encounter is going to go. And maybe I should go this way home because I know the cops won't be that way. We so busy trying to do that and just make it from A to B that anything else in between is like, okay, I could speak out about that, but as I'm leaving this rally, let me make sure that I make it home. That constant threat, living under that constant threat, that does a lot for stress, for our health. I mean, all of it's systemic, but is
that an excuse?
It's not. I'm not going to say it's an excuse. I'm not going to say it's an excuse. But what I am saying is, along with standing up for these four young ladies, along with addressing, all of the different issues that are plaguing us with these ladies, with Trump, with the missing children and women and all of that. If you're not here, does it matter?
What do you mean, bro? Because
if you're not here, meaning if you're not on this earth, what happens then? I'm saying we
I see
have
what
to
you
pull
mean.
that
I see what
into
you
the
mean.
right. We have to pull
But we're here.
that into the conversation. Right, we're here
and
now.
we're not doing anything.
No, I understand what you're saying. What I'm
There's
saying
no
is,
articles out.
What I'm saying is we need to pull that also into the conversation. We need to address all of these different issues. Addressing one, okay, they're gonna throw something at us on the back door. And then now we all gotta galvanize and go this way.
Right.
But if we have a combined, unified, systemized attack and approach
Exactly.
to everything that's plaguing the black community, okay, then we have a better success rate of knocking down some of these walls that they've been putting up for years.
Right.
So then that's the one question I want you to keep in the back of your mind. Because maybe off air after this, I want to figure out something. Because it's bothering me so much because I guess this is my passion now. You know, if something's burning within, you can't question it, and there's a reason.
No, that's true.
I'm always been about my black boys coaching. We all coach.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this year, our girls and the women, I don't know, just really started to something started to now. Maybe it's just because I'm getting to the point now in my life where I'm a little older now.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see things a little differently. But before I say that, why did you say we behind enemy lines? Because that was a movie, number one. I saw it. Behind but
I mean, because we are.
it too.
We are. And I think, without getting too deep.
How are we all behind enemy lines, Lo?
Well, we've been here, but this is, I mean, one, like I said, we're outnumbered.
But we're three smart gentlemen right here.
We are.
I mean, we're actually doing something right now.
Yeah.
I know.
We are.
I know,
and it may seem like a very small thing, right? We have our little platform that we're putting things out. But again, it's about, in order to change a mindset, it doesn't happen overnight, right? You have to have like Tim said, you have to have a plan of action. And it's very difficult to galvanize a large group.
Right.
Sometimes it takes having the right leader in front. We don't have a fire starter right now. We talked about it earlier. We don't have somebody out in front that's able to symbolically galvanize the masses on a large scale. So now it's all these different factions of people that are trying to, do their part in order to bring everybody together. And it just makes it take longer doing it like that. Because now you're trying to encourage those who are unencourageable. You're trying to lessen people's fears. You're trying to broaden people's horizons and understand that it's important to share your voice and get involved in the struggle. You're trying to change minds. You're trying to change mindsets. That's a lot. That's a lot. It takes there's a lot of thought that has to go into, selecting somebody to be in front of the group to represent their better interests. And I think that's what we struggle with, because, so like Tim said, he made a good point. We can fight this one thing right now and figure out how to fight this one thing, but what does that change for the other things that are going on? We talked about police brutality.
So is that going to keep us frozen?
No.
We're going to be scared?
No. I don't believe that. I think it goes back to the we have to go backwards a little bit. I think part of the issue is, like I said, we have to really know ourselves. A lot of people don't understand why it's important to do the work that we're doing.
Right.
Let alone the grand scale stuff, like even the lower level work that we're doing. We interact with our black boys daily. We talk to them daily, not because we have to, not because we're paid to, but because we see value in giving part of ourselves to another young soul.
True indeed.
Right? That's a small thing on the larger scale problems, right? But everybody's not doing that.
Right.
Everybody's not doing it because they don't see value in it. Some people don't see value in our children other than what they can do for them, or something even more negative, right? So it's true, frustrating. I know you're struggling over it.
It is.
It's very frustrating.
It is.
I am though. All jokes aside.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, but it's.
And then what? Just to piggyback on what you're saying, Lo, is what's also frustrating is, like, I don't think we as a people really understand what unify really means, because you'll have, and I'm not attacking any one group, but I just saw something on Facebook earlier. There's supposed to be like a march tonight in West Philly for all of the killings that have been happening in West Philly. And I think it's being headed by a Muslim group. But what happens is within our culture, within our different, belief systems and things like that, now you'll have, sometimes, and I'm not putting this on, but this is something that I've heard. It's like, okay, well, now what are the Christians doing? What are the churches doing? Like, we're doing this, and it's like, at some point, none of that stuff should matter. It should be, what are we doing as a people? And I'm not saying that this march tonight, I'm bringing attention to it because I actually want to go and take my sons because that's where I'm from. But I'm saying at some point we need to really understand what unifying is. It has nothing to do with what the Islamic and Muslim community is doing, what the church is doing. We all need to do the same thing and address the same issues so we can have maximum push force to really make a dent in what's going on. Go ahead, bro.
No, and I know you can articulate this better than I can. This has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with what's right. And even Christianity, Jesus was out there amongst the people more than the church.
Yeah, I mean, not even
like
to bring it into
being a service person, person of service.
Exactly.
Let's just keep it a bean. Are we in the church too much hiding, using it as a hospital?
I don't think so. I don't think so because you got cats out there like myself.
Are we getting filled up at the church? Are we getting filled up to pour out? Because why aren't we?
You should be getting filled up to pour out. Now, whether you pouring out or not, that's a different thing. That's what should be happening. I'll say that part, but not to make it about religion. I'm saying it more along the lines of, going back to even a conversation we had about the Willie Lynch letters. Mm-hmm. You bring in differences of maybe opinion and beliefs to cause separation. So in that regard, the unification that we need to happen to really make an impact, it doesn't happen because we got all of these different things that we're saying, I belong to this group, I belong to that group, I belong to that group. And now they, your enemy sees that and it's like, oh, okay, well, they're already divided over here. So let me just focus on them, this group right here, and make them hate that group. And then all of this that they're trying to do will fall by the wayside and we'll continue with business as usual.
Right. Real quick with Ilhan Omar.
Mm-hmm.
I believe she is the only Muslim in the group. Now, Miriam Abdel Hamed, who's a friend of all of ours.
Hey, shout out to Miriam.
Shout out to Miriam, Spanish teacher. That's her nickname. She even asked the question, is she being attacked more because she is Muslim and covered?
Yes. Yeah.
So she's the scapegoat. She's now the targeted person just because she's.
First thing I thought about was I wonder if he'd have made those comments if she wasn't. If it was just 4 black women up there.
I think you would have, but
if it was just.
Well, I mean, would it have came out that?
Yeah, that.
You know what I mean? Like when somebody wears.
That's hard to say, man.
When somebody in our country, what's supposed to be what makes our country great is the melting pot idea.
Correct.
But when people represent their country or where they're from, and not saying that she was doing that, but something that doesn't seem American, right? So she wears, her cover. If somebody wore traditional clothing to their country, something like that, a true blue American views that as a threat.
Yeah,
and they will quickly point that out whenever they don't get their way. People do it in stores. People do it in neighborhoods.
Yep.
It's always people use it to identify people. So there's something in our country where we're quick to point out another person who's not from here and use that against them. So I wonder,
which is
it doesn't make any
which
sense.
is hilarious
it doesn't make
to
any
me.
Sense.
Because if you want to send anybody back, the natives should be shedding that like crazy.
I was thinking that initially yesterday too.
Like, you kidding me? You know what? Just real quick, we were in D.C. last weekend, and I took the 2 oldest boys that are here now. I took them to the African American Museum, so they can start learning about the history and seeing some stuff. Anyway, long story short, as we're walking, if anybody's been there, like the National Mall is like directly across the street from it, right? So we walking and they're asking questions and they see the Washington Monument and all of that. And so when you walk around the circle, you look to the right, you can see the White House. And I always remember being younger, like, oh man, when I see the White House, it's gonna be majestic. It's gonna be, that's where the president of the free world is. I looked over there, and this was like a day before he came out and actually made those comments. I'm looking over there and I'm like, man, yeah, let's keep going to the car. Like, I've and for me, I had to take a quick evaluation. Like, man, that's where we are in this country, where it's not even, you don't even respect that office and that seat now.
No.
So I wonder, not just people like me and people that think the way I do, but you wonder across the world how many people share that same viewpoint. Like, okay, at one point, the president is, you're supposed to be dignified. You're not supposed to be a problem starter. You're supposed to be a problem solver. That's, generally what goes along with holding that office. But you got a cat in there now that's just, he's causing fires and having a field day on Twitter about it. Like, are you serious?
But you know what he's doing? You just said it. I never thought about it. You said he's using what? Twitter, right?
Yeah.
He's using his social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
We talking about fire starters. Where are the black fire starters? Where's the black males? This is my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the black males that are standing up for these women?
Yeah.
What about these black males that have 15 million followers? Like, this shit ain't really hard. Just say something on your platform.
Yeah.
15 million of them ain't gonna follow it.
I agree.
But maybe 5,000 will.
I got you.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I got you.
It's so many things. Because you're right. Once we get off these microphones and we walk outside, we have to think about everything that we just talked about.
Yeah.
But there are certain people in positions of power. Didn't LeBron James just shut the whole presidency down?
Yeah,
that dude was
much.
scared to tweet something because LeBron said something back. Do you remember this or not?
Yeah. I remember.
Something, and they said,
no, he said, well, just shut up and dribble.
Yeah, and
LeBron went at him.
And that was it. They said, you don't want to do that. You don't want to mess with LeBron James. He's the
and
king.
Because and one of the
using him for an example, why can't he say something?
Yeah. He's too busy trying to recruit people to LA right now. But
out LA.
I think
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not going to say that he can't say anything.
Well, remove him.
What you mean?
Let's not use him. We can use somebody else.
But I mean, so to your point, a person who has 15 million followers or whatever it is, why wouldn't they use their platform for something like
Rock,
this, right?
The Rock.
But let me give you two things with that.
Go ahead,
one is, how did they get their 15 million followers, right? If they didn't get them through this type of rhetoric, then they're not going to put this out there. You know what I mean? Like, so their interest is obviously somewhere else. If you got your 15 million followers because you're a YouTube star or something like that, that's where your interest is, right?
I hear you.
If we go back to that
you're not
picture,
reach out 15 million though.
You can, but you have to be interested in it.
We're educators, but we talk about basketball. We basketball players, but we can talk to those basketball boys about the importance of education.
We do, but if you check any one of our Facebook pages or our social media, you'll also see us post things like this. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
This is even before all three of us got together. We each individually had an interest in this. So people who follow us or look at our social media.
We're three very impressive black men. Okay, yes, we dabble. Okay, we dabble in everything.
I look at the amount of distraction that we have now in this day and age. And we talked about this picture of black athletes from I want to say it was like the 70s, right? But late 70s, 60s, 70s, where you had all the black athletes that came together to be a unified front talking about black civil rights and the mistreatments of black. Their focus was so much different than ours. Even when you listen to Muhammad Ali talk, he didn't really watch TV. He didn't really get into a lot of different forms of entertainment. He did interviews. He was a man amongst the people. So his interest was always with boxing and even more with the people, right? So look at him as an athlete and then think about the athletes now. Even LeBron James, who is socially conscious, but he has so much other stuff he's doing that there is a part of him, and he may not say this, but I'll say it for him.
His wife is black.
There is a part of him that there's a leash on, where he could say certain things, he can go to a certain level.
His agendas.
Right, but he can't just go in like he wants to. Like Muhammad Ali and them guys was calling white people devils to their faces. They did not care. Because their interest was people first, our people first, then their particular sport, and then everything else, right? Where now it's different, where guys want to hold on to these fortunes. They're worried about their brands. They don't want to be labeled. They'll say certain things, but how far will they go?
All I'm looking for, though, is for one of them just to come on and say, for the next 2 days, this is what we're going to do.
Now I guarantee.
But you know what they'll get labeled? They can get labeled as the fire starter.
Certain people are in this position, and they can afford to be, and they have the luxury of the position that they're in because they can afford to be it.
True.
He has a whole team. These people on TV, these actors, these people of entertainment, these political figures. If it's 5 in each category that came together, nothing will infiltrate that because they all have the support of each other. And they can all withstand the load to share it.
Okay.
I'm not a sound guy,
like
Pat.
that,
You a sound guy.
Well, yeah.
I'm not a sound. We don't know
purposes
none
for
of
us. Yeah, but
He knows everything and uses big words, Lopez. all the history of stuff. Okay. So
well,
what's the point? If somebody asks you something, nah, I'm speaking up on that. Nah, you done.
no, I'm with you. I think
No,
again,
you're not with me.
no, I am with you.
You're not with
Honestly, I am with you. And speaking of history, and talking about those athletes, I just think
Why is it so bad?
I think the black community at that time was more unified in terms of an agenda.
New challenge. Give a woman a compliment. Tell her how beautiful and strong
Okay,
she is
you
on
wanna-
Monday. Ready?
He
Boom.
just-
And then everybody on Instagram just starts posting that. That's a new challenge. Black Beauty Monday or
Okay.
Black Woman Challenge Monday.
Okay.
I'm talking about stuff on that level.
I got you. You talking about
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? That's how we can fight back.
I-
That's the start. You just said it has to start someplace.
Okay, I wouldn't say that that's how we can fight back, but I would say that would help us going towards unification.
Right.
I would say
Is
that.
being a fire starter the same as being unified?
No, because you can be a sole fire starter by yourself.
So then,
That's
doesn't-
what, I mean,
why
Cap,
can't these
Cap,
boys do that?
Cap was to a degree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
right?
mean, yeah,
Yeah, he was.
So now the
'Cause-
question is, after Cap did what he did, and see this,
Look how hard they pushed
right?
after.
But the NFL kind of shows you, and I don't want to get way off top, but
Yeah.
she'll get is a microcosm of
About
what we're
10
talking
minutes.
about, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Cap says, "Listen, I'm gonna stand up for something, and this is what I'm doing."
Mhm.
Right now, if the black players in the league would have said, "You know what?" Because there was other issues going on too. People talking about
Sure.
the pay scale and stuff like that.
Right.
The owners, if they had came together and said, "You know what?
We're gonna go with you on
we're going to take care of Cap.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take care of this pay scale thing." And you know what? All the black players, we're not playing.
Yep.
You know, next season we're not playing. Right.
I would have shut the NFL
And-
down.
because remember, the NBA the same year threatened it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They said we're not playing, and then phone calls was made. So you had LeBron calling Derrick Rose, and all the guys was agreeing. Like, listen, I don't care what the networks say. If they don't do something with the Clippers with Sterling, we're not playing. And they was dead serious.
Yeah.
And when they did that, they made a billionaire give up his franchise.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you got to sell your team. You have to do it.
So you see what happens.
I got
Right.
you.
It's
I
there.
know,
So
that's what I said.
we
I'm
have
with you.
examples of power, but the question is
Good job,
now.
Lopez. I forgot about that.
I'll go back to the NFL. We have examples, so I think people do know that it worked. Unity does work,
Right.
but the question is, how can you get people to do it every single time? Because that's what we need. Pat said
Exactly.
earlier, we need to not have a solution for this one thing with these girls. We need to have a solution for every injustice that happens, so people know when you do this to the black community, this is what's happening.
Right. Right.
You know, and kind of the LGBT community kind of has it already. People know, like, if you say something about them, they're going to come after you. They're getting that reputation where it's like, if you're a network, you say something about them. If you're an executive, you say something about them. If you're a reporter, there's an immediate and swift action that's going to happen.
They changing language. Like, you can't even call it a manhole anymore. You have to call it a maintenance hole.
Oh,
Right.
geez.
So that's what I'm saying. That's
So-
unity.
so
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
unity.
Like, that's right.
So am I wrong for saying we're the black men?
No, you're not. That's why
We have
you keep-
424,000 girls of all races have
Jesus.
gone missing since 2018. More than half of the women, according to BAM, I believe BAM stands for Black and Missing, and the other one is NCMEC. According to them,
Mhm.
more than half, 220-something thousand of them
Mhm.
have been minority, black or brown. If this isn't enough right now,
See, now what
with
you talking
everything
about?
you're stacking, we're stacking issue after issue. We just said it's going to take something. We're stacking major issues with our women right now.
Yeah.
Not even like here's the one. Here,
I got you.
these are stacks.
Yeah.
Like this is a tall pile of SHIT that
Yeah.
they're going through that we are not even being a part of, or even doesn't look like we're being part of the solution.
Mm-hmm.
Is nobody speaking up? There's nothing online about it. You brought this to my attention.
Yeah.
About a month ago, I think, or
Yeah,
a
'cause
couple
it was-
weeks.
Yeah. it's
You
getting
said
crazy.
missing black girls. I'm like, missing black girls. What's
all
going on?
over the place.
Because-
All over
yeah.
the place, man.
So-
And it's
If we have missing black girls over 400,000, and what did I say? 2018,
mm-hmm.
bro. And now we have this going on, and now they're saying send these black girls home. Like, come on, man. Like, somebody should be able to do something. Just put this together. Wow, I have
agree.
400,000 on this side.
Mhm.
4 women right here are being challenged by the president and now be called extremists. One being attacked because she's covered more so than the other ones, bro.
You
This is heavy.
man. It's super heavy. And not to get deep, but what's the gentleman's name? Was a friend of Trump, Epstein. I guess he was some type of billionaire who donated money to the Trump campaign or whatever, and it's been found out he was doing sex trafficking and all of that. Just what we're talking about. So you have billionaires and millionaires and wealthy who are financing this very stuff that we're talking about. They try to keep it to where I guess, money just pretty much covers everything, and hush money, and if we throw out 10 different things at one time, this will die down. So, now the focus is on these 4 girls when it takes off of the missing girls, which takes away from the black men getting killed, which takes away. So that's what I'm saying.
True.
If we don't see everything and hit it, that's my point in that. I'm not taking away from
That's a very good point.
anybody speaking out against.
Yeah.
Because that number of girls just missing to where and nobody knows, like that's super alarming. That's crazy. Yeah, it needs to be. There needs to be some type of mass action to figure out at least what's going on.
If any of these one issues would have happened to another particular group of people,
it'd be all over the place.
Imagine if police brutality just spiked towards Chinese American citizens.
Mm-hmm.
China would want to go to war.
Absolutely.
Like, without question.
And why aren't we?
That's what I'm saying. That's
because there's no men. We're built for it. We physically have bigger shoulders. We're physically built to carry the load. You have 15 kids. Okay, Lopez, you have like 11. Like, you're not too far. You guys are fathers and pillars. Why do you think they say pillar? Like, why do they say that whenever a black male is transitions when he passes away? They say with the word pillar. Where are our pillars now carrying this and supporting this? I don't care about technology. I don't care about money, because we have the biggest military in the world. But why are we still over there fighting? Because of IEDs and roadside bombs.
Well, we don't have the biggest military.
Yeah,
the United States does.
That's what I mean. My bad.
The United States does. Yeah. We don't have.
No, we don't.
Right. Remember, we're behind those lines.
Yeah, we are behind the lines. But what I am trying to say is we're still over there, and they're still fighting back, fighting for something they believe in with little roadside bombs and IEDs. And it's a pinprick to the heart when we drop bombs.
Yeah,
those pinpricks hurt too. And all I'm saying is we can deliver some little pricks that can turn into blows that can do something if we decide to use what we do have.
I agree with you. I know that you don't feel like I do.
No, I say that mostly for just to be funny. I know. Yeah. I know you do, and I agree with everything that you guys have said as well. But I'm just saying, like, we did that the men's conference. What could we do to instruct them? Yeah. What could we put in place to say, all right, listen, this is what we're gonna do?
I mean, the one thing.
And then we'll wrap it up, because I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's cool. The one thing that I'm pleased with and I'm happy to be a part of here today is just starting the conversation and getting it out there, because again, you have little pockets of people in different groups talking about different areas. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And us starting the conversation to kind of step back and take a macro vision approach at looking at the entire picture of what's plaguing us today in today's society is a conversation that I think that's what those are the conversations that need to be had and brought up to the decision makers. So we do it on our level. It goes up another level. It goes up to those who have the wealth and resources to actually do something about what it is that we're talking about. And then, you would like to think that lawmakers and those in political office would take up the plight, but
let's also give tribute to the people that are doing something. Like When They See Us, that documentary was amazing.
Oh my God,
it was great.
That
we talked about that.
What she did in her own way.
She cut with a sledgehammer with that.
Oh man, she huge sledge. She put a bulldozer into seeing what life as a young black youth is, can be, could be, that people had no knowledge of. And then you think about that case and how those guys were hated by their own people for what the media said they did, and what the police coerced them into saying that they did. And to kind of see that, to see them exonerated. I watched I'm gonna say this and then I'm done. I watched the Oprah interview afterward, and to see them, now I think it was what's my man's Antron McCray. To see him now, lost pretty much the innocence was stripped away from him. He lost his mother. You saw the situation if you saw the movie. If you saw the series, you saw what happened between he and his father. Like, that stuff is irreparable. $41 million, $8 million a piece.
He was in the most pain
that can't even, too. That can't strip anything away.
No.
That can't take anything away. That's a lifelong distrust, hatred, because you can feel it, and hurt because of what was taken away from him by this system. And for people like that, it's like, man, how do you and now how do you even address that? How do you repair that?
Yeah, so
that's a whole nother issue to bring up. So we got a lot of work to do, but I think at least starting the conversation is a step in the right direction.
I know we should be saying men in general, but support all women. Like,
True.
Women need help.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's strength and balance, and it's strength when they do what they're supposed to do, and men do what we're supposed to do. And when we don't do what we're supposed to do, they double the load. Let's see if we can just help people, man. And we got to figure this out. Lopez, you want to close this out? Any last words?
Yeah, two things. One, I read a while ago that Nick Cannon was investing in like movies that tell more of the black story. Like, he was doing an interview. He was doing an interview where he was talking about how many I don't want to say black superheroes, but stories that we have of us in superior positions that aren't told. So, like, you have that director doing these documentaries about these stories that happen in the United States, but he was also talking about doing stories that, again, just uplift us a little bit, show us in a different light. As far as movies, and I thought that's like another good step, like using your platform to do something where you can show kids positive images of themselves, where it will more uplift their ego and things like that. The other thing was, to piggyback off what you said, Dev, about helping our women and being more helpful to our women. It's really hurtful because our basic principle belief that we had for thousands of years before anything else was the system of Ma'at, where in that system was about balance, but we held our women in such a high regard, right? Even above ourselves, because they were the bringers of life. They were our universe. That's who we looked at. And so the things that we allow to go on, even, aside from this incident here, like even the regular things, the way the music industry portrays our women, there's so many things that we allow to go on that we are partly responsible for these outbursts by other people towards our women. Like, we have a role in that, where, yes, we should step up and protect them and speak out for them, but we also have a role in allowing others to see our women a certain type of way, because we don't hold them in the regard that they should be. And we need to get back to that. We need to hold our women up high, all women up high where they're supposed to be at, so others from the outside see them in a different light, and also understand that they're protected because how we treat them. So we have to.
Easier said than done.
Yes, definitely.
But like I said, we all made good points. So I'm really happy that Lopez is back. Like I said, we wasn't gonna do this without you being here, Lopez, because that's how much.
Yeah, man, we couldn't.
Appreciate that.
I mean, I could have.
I couldn't wait.
I didn't need Pat here.
I couldn't wait to get back. I missed you guys. I was excited to get back. I was following the show where I was going, and I couldn't wait to get back in the chair.
So shout out to the people in here. We got a full house today with Tim's kids, him, Mustafa Face. So, but everybody keep spreading the word. Listen to this. If y'all have any questions, like I said, Miss A sent me a question. I've had a few other people email me some things, or topics rather. So let's just keep this going. Today was a heavy day, but it was a necessary day. And by heavy, that doesn't always mean a negative. It was just something important that needed to be talked about and discussed.
True.
We're trying to make moves and use our platform. So make moves, move market, guys. Please share and continue to let's do good deeds and protect our women.
Right, protect them.
All right, guys.
Peace and love.